Hey, what's going on, everyone? Again, I would like to say thank you for clicking on this video and joining me on this journey. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below this video. In today's video, I'm going to be introducing the educator of the week. I want you to stay tuned because you don't want to miss it. All right, and with us today, we have Miss Grace Vasquez. She is a believer, a mother of two, an educator, and an entrepreneur. We're going to start off by having you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. I think you said everything. Well, right. I've been an educator for 15 years and counting. The first, I think I said 7 or 8 years, I was a high school history teacher. So that is really where I started. And then for the last 8 years, I've been a high school history teacher. And one of the things I told myself when I started teaching, I wanted to really work in different environments. So I worked at the boys' prison, I worked at behavioral schools, I worked at Title I schools, I worked at adult schools. I think I'm forgetting one, but I just wanted to be diverse. Oh, and magnet schools. I just wanted to be diverse and be able to tell myself, like, I've taught at all these different levels because each level is different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so now you are a school counselor.
High school counselor, yes.
High school counselor. And so how did you go from teaching to becoming a school counselor?
I'm going to be honest with you. I never wanted to be a high school counselor. And one day, one of my friends, she's an elementary school teacher, she said, I'm going to go to school, or I'm thinking about going back to school to become a counselor. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why? And, she planted that seed. And I said, well, that could be another, because sometimes when you're ready to leave the classroom or you want to leave the classroom temporarily, you always have that as an option. As opposed to when you're ready to leave the class today, you have no option. You would have to go back. So I went back. And when I got my high school counseling degree, I really wasn't ready to go back to the classroom. And one job just appeared as a behavioral, working at the behavioral school. And I got it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's time for me to go.
Nice. And so do you feel that prepared you to be where you are now? Like those experiences put you in the best position?
I would say definitely, because before I was a high school counselor, I worked at and they're not behavior schools. It's boys jail, right, for youth from 12 to 17. So before they go to prison, this is where the not detention centers, but the youth, the boys. So that prepared me for then working at the behavioral schools. Then it prepared me to work at the adult level and Title I schools, because that gives you experience, like how to deal with the students and really where their issues come from, right? Just because they're there doesn't mean they're bad kids. They will tell you, my mom didn't take care of me, or my mom, when I get out of here, we're just gonna go smoke weed together and go drink. So you're like, whoa, that's a lot of information. But it helps you understand. It really does help you understand where they come from.
Mm-hmm. And then what would you say what were some of the challenges that you face in your prior years of teaching and even now as a counselor in those positions? What were some of those challenges that you faced there, and how were you able to overcome those?
I think one of the challenges that I really had to overcome was that I look young. So when I first started, I looked young, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, this new young teacher, we're just going to mess, whatever. Because let's be honest, that's high school level. That's like, we want to see how far we can push the new teacher, or what we can get away with, right? Mm-hmm. But that didn't work, because I'm from Chicago, but I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. So for whatever reason, they always thought like, man, she's mean. But to overcome that, I really, really had to have a classroom management style, very rigorous, very structured, where this is what we're going to do when you come to class. You don't have to like me, you can hate me, but this is the procedure. And another thing that I always advise to teachers, which, once you start teaching, you realize this is not a common practice, is I will respect you, right? So show respect back, right? When they say, and I'm sure you've heard this, oh, I don't show respect till you give me. Not here. I'm going to respect you. I'm not going to be mean to you. And it's so funny how quickly, after so many years of teaching, they knew, like, she's like this, she's like this, she's like this. She's not mean. That's her attitude. Keep it moving, keep it pushing. But that's one of the challenges. And a lot of do want to, like, challenge you, like, oh, I'm tougher than you. And my answer was always, well, you know what? You can have that, but you got to go to the dean's office. Like, you're not going to take attention from my classroom because you need attention, right? So that was one of the toughest challenge. That was it every year while I was teaching. That was a challenge. Like, let's test her. But
yeah, and so that consistency that you've shown is like liquid gold, because a lot of teachers, they leave the profession because of those behavior problems and not having a behavior plan and not knowing how to manage the behaviors. You go in thinking that you're going to teach this subject, but at the same time you have to know how to manage that classroom before you can teach them anything.
that is so true. And that is why, for me, the first about 2 to 4 weeks, it was like structure, consequences, consequences, consequences. I'm not here to be your friend, because I'm not your friend. I'm your teacher. And I would even say up until second semester, I didn't actually kind of let a little bit looser, where it was like, okay, for a whole semester, because like you said, a lot of and I've had a lot of teacher friends that would complain, they don't listen to me, they're disrespectful. I was like, the minute they're disrespectful to me, I am a person, you're out. Like, you can go be disrespectful to everybody out there, but if I'm not showing you that, then you shouldn't either. And that's a very hard concept for the student to understand, and for parents, or the teacher. But they're disrespectful. It doesn't matter if they're disrespectful. Now you give them the consequences. So yeah, classroom management, not a lot of people know what to do.
Yeah. And so I kind of want to go deeper into that, because classroom management is basically, how you run your classroom, how those students are going to learn, and how effective of a teacher that you can be, because if you can't teach, you can't be effective. So how would you say that, teachers should implement consequences? Would you say that, hey, consequences should be immediate and, target that behavior? How did you go about those consequences?
It's like now that I have kids, my kids are young, 5 and 6. So I started my teaching career without having children, right? So it's the same thing. When you do something, you have to pay the consequence right there and then. One of the things I always told them, like maybe the first week of school, is, look, we all have bad days. Most of these kids, some of them are young parents, they have to work. And I would tell them, look, I understand we all have bad days, but what you will not do is come and take it out on me. If you're tired, if you're sick, your child was up last night, I'm at the door, because, we greet them at the door, just tell me, hey, miss, I'm having a bad day, or I'm sick, I don't feel well, I didn't get enough sleep. See how communication, we learn to talk to each other. And then, you know what, I'm gonna leave you alone, and I'm just gonna respect you. But if you come in here with an attitude, the consequences is going to be the consequences. Yeah, I do agree that the consequence has to be done on that day to show everybody else. I'm not going to give you 2, 3, or 4, because then you're going to have everybody else, oh, well, you didn't have him pay, or you didn't have her go to the dean's office. It's like, the minute that it's done, that's the minute that you have to address the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what are some of the dangers of not addressing the issue that day and just waiting?
One of them is the other students start to see that, right? Oh, well, you didn't do nothing to so and so, or why did he get away with it and I didn't? And once they start seeing like you don't address the issue right away, then the whole class is going to start trying to test you, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you kind of go back to ground zero where now you have to start over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a problem being, whatever they want to dictate or whatever, like strict, but little by little, November, December, okay, you guys already know my rules, you know what it is. So there's really no reason for you at this point to act out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I also heard you say that when you started teaching, you didn't have children. And now that you do have children, how has that, impacted you as a teacher and a counselor now?
When I didn't have kids, one of the things I would say about me was that I was never the one that would be like, well, if I was a parent, I would do it this way, or my kids would be perfect. Thank you, Jesus. I never said that because I am I'm out of 5 siblings, right? So I'm the oldest. So thank God I've never had that mentality. But now having kids, I'm still the same way, strict, direct, and to the point. But maybe listen to them. I do listen to them before, but it's if they're parent, like if they're mothers, because as a high school counselor, I want to say, maybe like, I don't know, 5% of the girls have kids. I'm able to say, yes, it is hard as a mom, or yes, or give them tips, or, stuff like that, because I'm a mother too, right? My kids are young, like I said, but I can listen to them and, give them some tips, but the other stuff, I stick to my guns on that.
Yeah. So you're able to be, more empathetic with those
Yeah.
families, with those mothers, because you know what they're going through. And so
Right.
what would you say is like the best part of your job?
Right now, everything's online. I don't know if your district is. Everything is online. But one of the great things really about being a high school counselor is you're really able to talk to them more one-on-one and really like help them with their goals and say, hey, I'm Mexican American, first generation, born here, and first to go to college, right? And most of the students that I talk to are in the same boat. So I am able to say, look, if I did it, you can do it too, and this is how you do it. And we make that connection, right? Because a lot of them come back and like, well, my mom didn't go to college, or my older siblings didn't go to college, or didn't even graduate. So where do I start? And that's really where I start telling a little bit about my personal, like, hey, I was the same way.
Mm-hmm. And so was it, hard growing up as the first generation college student? How was that like, for you? And how is that, like you said, it helped you be able to empathize with those students to say, hey, if I did it, you can do it. So what was your inspiration behind, pressing through despite being the first in your family?
I graduated a semester early from high school, so I had no clue of what to do for college. But you know what? There was always people willing to help, and that's what I always tell my students too. Like, look, you go to whatever college. I'm all for community college because it's way cheaper, just to be honest. And there's people willing to help you, right? I always would find somebody, and then they'll be like, okay, and then go to this person, and I was so blessed just to always have that connection with somebody else and then somebody else. Was it easy? I don't think to me it was easy because it was something different, right? Coming out of high school and then immediately January of, when I graduated was, oh, you're in college, and you know how college is like, professors, you're late, too bad, you pay my money, move on, right? So it was very different. In that part, it was very different. But like anything else, you learn, you ask questions. And and then you meet friends in school that, you know, make it a little bit better.
Yeah, I would have to agree because that's how I made it through college, you know, making those connections and people are actually there to help you and
Yeah.
you have to definitely seek them out too. So, would you say that um because I can tell that there's like this, you know, there's a confidence, right, that you have. What would you say is your greatest inspiration?
My greatest inspiration is my parents, right? My parents came to this country from Mexico. They didn't meet in Mexico. They met like in the apartment complex in Chicago. But my parents are my inspiration because, you know, they came to this country with nothing. My mom was I think 13, 15, and she had me when she was 17. And my father was a little bit older, but they literally had nothing, right? And they had 5 kids, and them they are now successful business owners and they have their properties. So how dare I be born in this country and not do anything with my life, right? When I literally have everything. I'm an American citizen. You know, some people, you know, with schools and certain things like that, with citizenship or residency, that's an issue. But I'm an American citizen. I have everything available for me: schools, jobs, education being number one. How dare I not? How dare I not do something with my life when my parents, who literally got here with nothing, now are successful? That's always been my inspiration. My parents.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, what do your parents do now?
So they have a restaurant in Chicago. They've had my dad has always been in the restaurant business, you know, working in the restaurant business. And then when I was I don't know, when I don't know, 12, 15, you know, when you're younger, you don't even know what. When I was like, I think 13, 14, then he started owning his own restaurants. So for the last, I don't know, 30 years, yeah, 30 years, I guess, he's owned his own restaurant, whether, you know, from one to another one. So right now they both own a restaurant in the suburbs of Chicago.
Wow, that's amazing. Hats off
Yeah.
to your parents.
Yeah.
And so, are you currently working on any projects or books?
No books. I think I should write a book of the school system, but you know, because there's so many things going on. But no projects. The only thing I've always had available is a devotional for women. You know, now being a mom, it's like, yeah, and then a full-time mom, working mom. It's like, where do you find this time to really spend time with God? So I created a 30-day devotional last year just to help women learn, or just to have one in your hands with the Bible verses and questions to kind of get you started with the day. But you know, that's it.
Wow. So, what inspired you to start that project?
um what inspired me was that when I got saved about 2 years ago, I did not know where, you know, I don't know. I'm like, people are like, go read the Bible. Like, I'm like, well, what do you, I don't know. I mean, I know how to read, but where do you start? You know, like, you're like, am I
Right.
doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Like, I don't even know. So,
Right.
so funny that I went to Sam's Club of all places, and, you know, they sell books, and I have, I don't, I literally still have it in my closet because it just so it's treasured for me. It was a devotional where it has a Bible verse, and then it had questions like, you know, read it and one, two, maybe four questions the most. And I took it a step higher, where I had my Bible. I would go find the verse in the Bible and then read a little bit before and after, which made me read the Bible even more. So that is really where the whole daily devotional came from, where I know where you've been. You have no clue what to start. So here I will help you 30 days of Bible verses to kind of help you get to where I was.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. And so, where can, you know, women of faith access that 30-day daily devotional?
Um, I will send you that information because it's not short linked. It's on my Padilla, but it's a Note for God daily devotional for ambitious moms. So I definitely can send you the link. Yeah, because I don't have a shorter link for that one. Yeah,
Okay. So you can access it online?
Yes. Oh, yeah. You can access online. All you have to do is you put your information, obviously, I don't know, however you pay, credit card, debit card, and then it's instantly downloadable. One of the things, I don't have it here, but one of the things I always say, well, at least I like to actually have a piece of paper. So you can just go ahead, print it, hole punch it, and put it in a binder. That's the easiest way. And just have it there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's amazing. And I would definitely love to put it in the description
Yes.
below this video for those that are, interested in it and can support you in
Thank
that
you.
way. I think it's actually a great idea, especially, coming from a background of faith and understanding that some people don't know where to start. Some people didn't grow up in church. And I think with you having to experience, what it was like to not know where to start.
Right.
Again, it's like you can empathize with those people and say, hey, here's where I can help you. So hats off to you on that.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
admire you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know, people. I mean, people have great intentions, but you're like, am I doing it right? How do you
Mhm.
talk? It's like all these things that your mind messes with you, and you're like, I don't even know if I'm doing stuff right. How do you read it? And for people out there who are listening, all you have to do is open up the Bible and read it. It is really that simple. But yeah, you need a little. Sometimes you need a little push.
Oh yeah. And what would you say is your favorite scripture?
Oh my goodness. I'm looking at it because it's in my bedroom. Jeremiah 29:11. I give you hope and a good future.
Yes.
I'm like paraphrasing it because I don't want to butcher it, but you know what I mean. Yes, I'll give you hope and a good future, which to me, it is no matter what you're going through or hardships you're going through, it does not matter because God essentially, well, not essentially, but God has your back. It may not look the great financial wise or even anything else, but it will get brighter and God has it prepared for you.
Yes, absolutely. And what advice would you have for people who are watching?
My advice, if you are, I'm going to say, I guess, two different advices. If you are a parent of high schoolers, I understand sometimes they think they know it all, but it is what it is. I would advise as parents to just listen to your kids. Um, Even though they're teenagers, they might not want to, and I say this quote unquote, and I'm not saying, and I'm saying this as an educator for 15 years at the high school level, they may not want to hang with you, but they do. They do want to spend time with you. Okay. All right. So my advice, like I said, would be really, even though they may say not to spend time with you, I would just try to spend as much time with them listening and take them somewhere, ask them what they want to do and do it. I mean, that would be my advice for parents at the high school level, because I know a lot of parents say, oh, my kid doesn't want to spend time. And then in the classroom, I hear, well, my mom doesn't want to do anything with me. They ignore me. So I'm just saying that as an advice from a high school teacher's perspective. That's my first advice. My second advice is really surround yourself with godly women. Read your Bible, spend time with God every single morning. Um, because raising kids is hard. And I think once you really spend that time with God and you read your Bible and you do your devotional, everything kind of seems to be a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Grace. I really appreciate you, taking the time out and sharing with us your story, your advice, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you doing great things
Thank
with
you.
those students. I can tell you've already made a major impact as far as, instilling discipline in those students and love and respect. So just awesome job.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm excited to have met another educator who I could also, relate to, and definitely looking forward to future encounters with you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I always love talking about school and education, and and to a fellow educator, because I think we all go through the same thing and we see it, but a lot of people, I guess, they don't hear us.
Yeah.
So it's good to talk about it.
Right. We is better than just me. So together, teamwork makes the dream work. So
Yeah.
keep up the great work and best wishes to you.
Thank you so much.
And as always, remember, you have what it takes. Be great and accelerate. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.